Take another look at that Milwaukee team. They are darn good. 4-0 Brewers over the Phillies. They take the series 2-1. Phillies 4-3 in this homestand, 52-44 overall, and they've lost 2 straight for the first time in 7 games. As we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Pitalico, Ben Davis in a moment, John Kruk. What I love about the both of you is you never give the other team any quarter. It's about the Phillies and how they play or do not. But Corbin Burnes, 4-0 this month, 4-0 with a 1.33. Sometimes you got to give guys their props.
49 swings, 15 misses against him, including 13 swings on a curveball, 9 swings and misses. That just goes to show how good his off-speed stuff was. Yeah, the Phillies didn't have any way to solve this guy. He just went out there, pitched whatever, threw whatever he wanted to, whenever he wanted to, and he pretty much had their number all afternoon. What do you really do on this? You didn't score any runs. You really didn't put up any threats. So, I mean, bottom line is you were doomed to lose this game. Burnes has been pitching well this month. You knew he was coming in pitching well, and he stuck it to you. Good. He
sure did, and that's why you're hoping that Taijuan Walker does something similar. Maybe not what Corbin Burnes, but he was bidding for his 12th win, which would have been a major league high. Your thoughts on Taijuan Walker's performance?
Well, Christian Yelich got to him a couple times. We know that, the big 3-run homer early in that ball game. But he was just up in the zone a little bit, and Yelich made him pay. He was first pitch swinging his first couple of bats, and he made Walker pay because those pitches were elevated. First time up, it's a fastball. Next time up, a hanging splitter, and those things go a long way. A couple men on base for that big 3-run jack, but he just had a good day, 3 for 4 overall. And I didn't think Walker was terribly sharp early on in the ball game, but he still gave him 6 innings. He did give up 4 earned runs, but overall he was okay.
Yeah, let's go to John Kruk across the street. Called today's game with Tom McCarthy. John's in the booth. John, you faced many a great pitcher in your career, and when you're going against a guy that you know is going to be tough, is there any way to solve them? And if so, what do you do?
Well, you hope he makes mistakes, and that's, when you're a really, really good pitcher like Corbin Burnes is, and any other great pitcher, that's the only chance you have. You hope he makes a mistake. And
John, you know what? One thing stands out to me. You look at the lineup of the Brewers, you kind of say, okay, they're pitchable. You can do what you want with these guys. But then you look at their pitching staff, obviously with a guy like Corbin Burnes. But what I saw is that their bullpen is just flat out nasty when they get a lead.
Well, that's why they are where they are in the Central, because of the pitching and defense and that bullpen. And that, Uribe come in, he's throwing 101. I don't know why he was throwing sliders to Trey with a 4-run lead, but at the end it didn't really matter because the pitching today for the Milwaukee Brewers is absolutely phenomenal.
Johnny, I think sample size is big enough, and we saw the way Bryson Stott handled himself last year, but a different player. I think we've seen enough to know the good hitters find ways to get their hits, even against someone like Corbin Burnes. Stott able to get one today. He's shown us a lot, isn't he? He's a really good big league hitter.
Yeah, he has been, and he's polished, and when you watch him play every day, you understand that he's a very smart player too. I just love his approach, the way he battles, the way he fouls pitches off. He doesn't walk a lot. He did strike out a couple times today. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. But Ben, you play with Tony Gwynn, and Tony would tell you, on a day when a pitcher's on, he said if you can scratch out one, you're doing a good job. And Bryson scratched out a hit, and that's why he's more than likely, in my opinion, he's going to hit over 300. Just hope his back's okay.
John, the assessment of this team right now, this is just two straight losses, nothing more, nothing less, correct? They just move on to Cleveland now, suck it up, and start another win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And, look, like I said, you run into a guy like the way Burnes was throwing, there's nothing you can do about it. Yesterday's game, they had chances. They just didn't bring in runs. But, yeah, I don't think 2 games is going to – this 2-game little losing streak that they're on right now – I don't think it's going to affect them either way. To me, this is one of the easiest times to get away, get on a bus, go to the airport. It's not like you had opportunities today to win the game. You had opportunities yesterday, but today you didn't have opportunities to win this game because of how dominant the pitching was. So it's an easy one to just, turn the page and get on with the next one.
All right, John, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you Monday against Baltimore when they come in.
John, they're good too, man.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be it's a tough road right now for the Phillies.
Wait do you see their bullpen too.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah, well, that's when the bat's got to come and bring it.
Going all around the zone, you're not getting the calls. He was getting a little frustrated early on in the game, and then all of a sudden you have that one inning where you give up 3 runs, and Christian Yelich is sitting there, and he's the one guy you can't get out. I mean, it turns into a little bit of a problem. But I mean, when you look at this game, I think the only thing you will point at is that he couldn't get Christian Yelich out.
We heard him say he wants to get that split finger percentage up to about 45-50%. You know what it was today? 21%. He just didn't have a feel for it. He did not have a feel for that splitter, so he went to alternate pitches. He threw the cutter 33% of the time, the two-seamer 33% of the time. So he just did not have a feel for that pitch. Today, it was extremely hot and humid today. Maybe that ball just kept sliding out of his fingertips. Couldn't get that. I didn't see a whole lot of dip in that pitch today, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Also, when you're not getting the calls, Ben and Ricky, when you think you should have a strike and it's called a ball, what does that do to your approach, your psyche, and the way you present?
Problem is your focus changes. Your focus changes from the mitt to the umpire. When you start getting on the umpire, I was one of them. I used to steam at umpires. I hated umpires. You should. And the way I looked at it,
Rick.
I don't care.
Disliked intensely.
It's just
intensely.
It's just one of those things where you can't change your focus. Sometimes you get so irate with yourself or with the umpire or whoever the call was on, you kind of tend to get yourself out of that focus, that tunnel vision you should have to the glove. And once that happens, you start going all around the place instead of into one.
That's when Catch comes in and calms everything down, right?
It's his fault.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But
I'll take the blame.
Anything Garrett Stubbs could have done?
No, I mean, we did see him go out to the mound and say, hey, relax, but it's easier said than done. Sometimes all pitchers have different personalities, obviously. If I were to go out to try and calm down Ricky Bell, I think that would be, no offense, but I think that would be a tougher task as opposed to going out and calming down someone like a Jamie Moyer.
Yeah.
It's just, they're different animals. All of them are different.
Well, I would say if there's another performance that faced the Phillies throughout the season, I don't know if there was a tougher one than today.
I would say this was one of the toughest because, like Ben just said, I mean, sometimes you can go with one pitch. I think he could have gone out there and thrown that curveball to everybody on every single pitch, and they would have had a tough time hitting it. You don't see what you see a lot of is jetters now. What I mean by jetting curveballs is halfway to the plate they just get like a sharp little jet down. This thing had a big-time banking in it. I mean, literally from 12 to 6. And when you could do that, I mean, you're as a hitter, you're seeing it up here. Next thing you know, it's disappearing at home plate. I thought he was really on top of that. Plus, I mean, he's got a 95, 96 mile-an-hour fastball that he moves in and out on both sides of the plate. This guy was painting with everything he had. He was Picasso.
Yeah, he sure was.
He did not miss the middle of the plate. He just didn't.
No. In hockey, they say run into a hot goalie, and this is run into a hot pitcher. Forget about it. All right, let's hear from Rob Thompson, his thoughts on this loss.
You knew it was going to be a challenge against Burnes today.
Yeah.
How good was he actually?
He was really good. I mean, there's a reason why he's an all-star. You just got to give him credit. Curveball was good. Cutter was good. Threw strikes. Yeah. He was really good.
He was throwing a lot of cutters, I think like 55 cutters or so. What was it about that pitch that was so effective?
It's just power. It's 93, 94, and he can locate it. So it's a tough pitch to hit. Tough on lefties too when he throws it in on their hands. But yeah, he threw well. But I thought Ty threw well too. I thought he was really good. Velocity was good. He hung a split to Yelich. But other than that, he was really good, and he really competed and gave us some good innings. Kept us in it.
Not to put added pressure like in the top two guys in the lineup, but when they're not getting on base, I mean, how much more of a challenge is it for you guys to score at a consistent rate?
Yeah, it's a challenge, but both those guys were on. We only had 5 base runners. Schwarber walked. Turner walked. So, you got to give credit to Burnes today. But, yeah, they're important to get on base, no doubt.
While Burnes was really good, is there anything that you would have liked to have seen differently with your team's approach at the plate today?
You know, I don't know. It's tough to hit good pitching sometimes. So, you know, you just got to give credit today and move on and go into Cleveland and go win another series.
Where do you see Derek Hall right now?
He's struggling a little bit, you know, swing and miss, and it looks like his swing's a little bit long, but, you know, we'll keep working at it.
Is this something you want to keep playing him or sit him down for a game? Or?
No, we'll see.
You guys won the season series last year against the Brewers, which could have come into play down the stretch. I mean, do these series carry any more significance just because you guys are all postseason contenders? Do you look at that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you want to win every series, but we did the same thing last year. I think we lost here, and then we went over there and swept. So hopefully history repeats itself.